Hello and welcome to Sporking News Podcast. And it is a live show for the first time, our second time actually. Thank you for coming. This is a celebration of Sporks. Okay, I was going to actually try to dub in my own voice going, spork it, sport, but it didn't work. I can't do it, Tom. You're going to have to teach me that. I have a great panel with us tonight, and I'm going to introduce you. I'm going to start with my... Is that my left or my right on film? I don't know, but Tom, please introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time it is, and goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still here.
Tom, please. And that was me. Sorry. And next to Tom is the Queen, Mary Mayhem.
Well, hi guys. How is everybody doing? I'm pretty happy to be here. Am I supposed to do the spiel? Am I supposed to?
I think Mary's stoned or something.
I don't know if I'm supposed to do the spiel or not.
You could do whatever you want on my channel.
I can hear my.
Right, hold on, I'll whip it all out. All right. So, hi guys. I am Mary B. I am the mistress of mayhem, disruptor of the narrative, and official Whammon card holder. You can find me over on my channel, Mary Mayhem. We talk about newsy news stuff during the week, and on the weekends I have a little fun. There you go.
Well, thank you, Mary. And below Mary is a pretty great guy with a great channel, Orville Nation. This is PJ. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Scotty. Hey, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I am just a fan channel for the Orville, and we talk not just the Orville. We talk about a lot of different things. So
you're more than just a fan channel, man. You are so much more. So much more. And then below me, another member of the Fourth Wave.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I think he might be an author, right?
I want to mention that Scott texted me with "Are you coming?" earlier, and it was not spelled correctly. For those of you who are sensitive, his channel might not be for you.
That could be it. And you're my channel. Guess what? FDA, FFC, whoever the hell you guys are, we can smoke. Okay, so I feel free.
Lordy,
I'm not monetized, so how you doing today, Steven?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm in rare form this evening. I'm sorry. I'll try and hold it together for you.
Is there something you want to fire off on right away?
No, not at the moment. I'm just having a good night. Tom, good to see Tom. I love that bald head. It is another one of my favorite members of the Bald Head Clan. Mary Mayhem, love your intro. Always have. I love what you're doing. Toxic Femininity is awesome. And PJ, love all the interviews you've been doing. Thank you for having me a part of that, and we really appreciate it. You know, I said a long time ago, we rise together. And that's the truth. No matter what clique, no matter what clan you're in, no matter what group of friends you have anywhere within this this big fan community, everybody's helping one another, and it's visible to see, and it's something that I'm proud of. Keep it up.
Wow, I should have you running my channel. That you make a valid point right there, man. We do rise together. The two people on top with me, Tom and Mary, they have been very supportive of my channel and other channels, helping. They didn't forget that they started out where we are right now. Okay. They may be huge and amazing, but they remember us.
Yeah.
They remember us.
Tom's huge. He's huge over there.
I don't know. That's just a rumor. That's just a rumor I started for dating sites.
Yes.
Oh, you mean the channels? Well, Andre is the one who's really got the big channel, but yeah.
Yeah, Andre, that man is huge, if you know what I mean. So you kind of touched on something else. We rise together. We came up together. But what got you guys into the fandom? We're gonna think about that for a second, but I'm gonna say hello to the amazing people in my little chat. We got Chris Persia, one of the greatest monitors in the world. We got is it Michael Wolf? I always want to say Michael Wolf.
I think
Michael Wolf, one of my best supporters. Kick 44, Storyman Jack. I don't know if you guys follow Storyman, some of you guys, but he's also, yes, right there, George Big Dick Lucas. He has a great channel about writing, how to create characters, how to create situations. He just dropped one today that was great. So maybe take a look at that. And yeah, other than that, it's probably just us. So if you guys don't mind tweeting out the tweet I sent out before, or threatening your fans to come see us, that'd be great.
Let me shill for you.
Shill on, brother. But no, I would like to know. So we could let's start with the lady, Mary. What brought you into, when did you realize you love sci-fi and fantasy? Was there a one moment? Was it gradual? What was it?
Oh, it was incredibly gradual. There is a moment in my mind that sticks out as me realizing that I was definitely an odd duck. But I think the heat got turned up slowly. It was a slow boil. I didn't know I was in until a little later in my life. So my dad actually introduced me to Star Wars and Star Trek when I was very young. And it was really sort of there, just always there. I can't pinpoint exactly when. I think it really boiled down to just loving my dad, and wanting to spend time with him. And because this was the thing that he loved and he was happy to share it with me. And he would sit me down on his knee and he would point at, the screen. That's Luke Skywalker, right? That's the hero of the story, and I came to realize over time that Luke was basically space Jesus, right?
Good way of putting it.
Sacrificial, willing to redeem the irredeemable when it seemed that all hope was lost for them, right? And then I remember a very specific moment. I was with a bunch of girls from church. Now I was homeschooled and I didn't interact with my peers very often.
How long were you homeschooled?
I was third grade. I had just started third grade when my mom pulled me out.
Oh,
wow. And then moved us into homeschooling. And that in and of itself is a really long story. But so mostly
for another time.
Yeah, it took a completely different time.
Yeah.
So most of my interactions were just with girls from church, right? And none of whom had any interest in any of the geek anything. And so I remember, I don't remember exactly what brought it on, but I remember quoting Star Wars and saying, "Do or do not. There is no try."
That is awesome.
And everyone looked at me like I had 3 heads.
Good for you.
What the fuck are you talking about right now? And it hit me, it hit me later on what that actually meant, what it even meant. The whole do or do not, there is no try. I remember when that hit me like a ton of bricks, that it had weight, that it actually meant something. It wasn't just something that I had heard all my life and didn't mean anything. It wasn't just a quote from a movie, that it meant that you either succeeded or you failed.
Right.
And whether or not you succeeded depended on whether or not you gave it everything that you had. Right. And so that was sort of, and of course my father loved Star Trek and he was huge into that. And we would watch The Next Generation every single week. And I remember him comparing it to the original Star Trek and be like, "It's really good. I really like it. But it's not Captain Kirk."
That's a generational thing, I would think, right?
But he still loved it. He still loved it. And then as I grew older, the water continued to boil and boil more. I learned that I loved Dungeons and Dragons. I got really into the cartoon shows. I didn't have a whole lot of options in terms of TV, so I would watch what was on the WB and what was on Fox, and that generally boiled down to Batman the animated series or Spider-Man or X-Men or Justice League and things like that. Those were the cool shows that I was able to access. I didn't have the Disney Channel. I didn't get to watch Tailspin like everybody else.
Right. DuckTales.
That wasn't just on the Disney Channel. It was on WGN and in syndication, though, woman.
I don't know.
She had rabbit ears. Now leave her alone.
It was rabbit ears. It was absolutely rabbit ears. We had an
and that's just because whatever your locals were stupid.
Hey, mine was out in New York, so I got the good stuff. Now, Mary, did you watch the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon when you were really younger?
I vaguely remember that. So they had like a group, right? And they went through like a time thing or whatever.
They were like on a roller coaster, and they went through a warp to the land. Yeah, that was I forgot all about that till you just.
I remember Uni. All right, Uni was my favorite character. Remember the little unicorn, Uni?
Yes. Oh my God. I actually had a little purple stuffed plush unicorn that I named Uni. I literally forgot about it until you just brought it up.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, crazy. That's amazing. That is so awesome that you just made me see how that works. All right, sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, I think it was a slow boil. And then as I got older, I mean, I kind of normalized a little bit. I learned how to cloak myself, if you will. And get in amongst the normies. And and fare a little better amongst them and be a little more acceptable as a human being. But it never went away. At like, I think I was 19 years old when I started really getting into D&D. And I'll never forget my first character. Her name was Kalia Blion Munbo. And yes, I was very proud of that name. And she was purple from head. So, I'm not sure if I should share this. I have a crippling, debilitating fear of yard gnomes. And in order to accommodate,
I tell you to quit telling people this shit. It's only going to come back to haunt you.
But in order to accommodate me, our DM, my ex-boyfriend's best friend, Chris, he had to write because I had to come up with a backstory for why was it that we didn't have gnomes in this game, right? Because it's all in the books, right? Gnomes are thing, they're normal. And so the thing was, because I wanted to be purple, I wanted to live and exist as a purple person, but I didn't want to be a tiefling. And so
how ironic, I was a purple people eater.
So the story
hey now.
As a child, my entire village had been slaughtered by evil running amok gnomes, and they had dropped me into a vat of purple dye and nearly killed me. And so I was purple from head to toe.
Hate when that happens.
It was a lot of fun. I was a hunter, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it just sort of it all escalated from there. And then I got into cosplay, and it's just an entire world of geekdom to.
Oh, so you did cosplay too? I didn't know that.
Oh, dude! Everybody knows I'm a cosplayer.
I don't.
I did too, but I kept getting kicked out of school.
What is your favorite cosplay outfit?
So I've actually done this one character twice. I loved her so much when they switched her outfit. There's a show called Ruby. It's an American anime done on Rooster Teeth, and the character Nora Valkyrie. She is me. I am Nora, and Nora is me. She's essentially like female Thor, right? She's got a hammer, and she conducts lightning, and that's her semblance. And so I have actually cosplayed her twice.
So she actually is not just stealing Thor's.
No. She is her own entity in this, but she's inspired by Thor.
This is before the Whammon card.
She's very quirky, and she's her thing is well, this is my favorite catchphrase of hers, although she's got a few. Mine is, "We'll break his legs."
You're right.
Really quirky and ready to murder people. It's cool.
I got to see some of these. If you have pictures, we'll talk later about that.
Okay.
Now, Tom, how did you? What was your? That was an awesome story. First off, Mary, and I don't know why we're echoing so bad all of a sudden, but echo. Oh, it's gone. Wow. But Tom, how did you? It's always Steven. How did you get into realizing what was your first love of the fandom, and what brought you into it? When did you realize this is my thing?
Probably when I was kidnapped by aliens at the age of 12.
I want to hear this.
Too?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I was always into like Superman, and I was born early 80s, so I grew up with VHS and stuff like that. Eventually, like about 5 years old, we got our first VHS machine. So I mean, to me, being into movies and TV wasn't like abnormal. Like all my friends and stuff, we'd all play like Ghostbusters and stuff at recess, and Star Wars and whatnot, whatever was on the movie that week. And like Mary, though, I did grow up in a pretty rural area. So it was a pisser when something like Ninja Turtles would come out and one of my local channels wouldn't get the syndicated rights to it. So I didn't get to see Ninja Turtles at the same time everybody else did. I didn't see the cartoon until I finally started putting them on video. And then when we moved and we got more channels, through cable, then I finally got to see more of that kind of stuff. But my access to a lot of that stuff was kind of limited until later on. And I guess I didn't really realize that I was a geek or into the geek stuff until middle school, when I was in the play Little Shop of Horrors. And I played the plant. And the fact that I knew all the lines and shit without really having to, outside of learning what lines weren't in the movie.
Right.
Basically was kind of like, the first time I realized, I'm a geek. I must be, because I'm the only one who knows. I knew everybody else's lines, and how
many times did you see that?
Oh, I saw the movie at that point, God knows how many times, so it was like, the movie was probably only 2-3 years old when we did the play, if that.
Yeah,
it was still fairly fresh.
Movie,
yeah.
Now, all right. So you'll definitely know, Tom. Who voiced the plant in that movie?
Levi Stubbs of the Four Tops.
There you go. That is awesome. All
and
right.
He actually just passed away like last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Did he really? Oh, well, I'm sorry to bring that up. Let's move on. Tom, what else?
But no, yeah, from there on, it was kind of like, I guess I knew that I was the nerd, or I was, because I had another friend of mine who was really into like the technical aspects of movies and knew all the actors and all that kind of stuff. And I had my favorite actors and certain things like that, but I was just more into like the geeky movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was more into, like I said, Ghostbusters and Star Wars. I kept my flame for Star Wars going long after it kind of, had extinguished for everybody else.
Oh, I
remind people of times, like to some people, like Star Wars was always there, but like there was dark periods.
Mm-hmm.
People that are older like me, like I think Steven, you're closer to my age too. You probably know what I'm talking about. Probably about 86, 87. It kind of tapered off, and there just wasn't a ton of Star Wars shit out there. And
yeah.
It just kind of
became... I'm the oldest one here, so I remember that.
It really didn't reamp up until they did the trilogy books. And again, I'm one of those who says, the EU isn't as big as some of the EU people want to admit, but at that time it was a big deal because that was the first real Star Wars thing we'd had besides a couple video games, and the toy line had died and all that other kind of stuff. So it was kind of like, oh, it's kind of neat to see that. And everybody else was just kind of like, Star Wars, that shit's old.
Yeah, it's outdated. But you see, that's right there. You are in that age group. People about, like, I was born in 76. I know Steven was 77. In our age group, like the EU. Now, I didn't get heavy into it, but that's a different story. But I knew a lot of kids that did. But that fed everybody's like soul for Star Wars. And for kids that are younger, they don't realize, like, when they just said the EU is just legend now, it's not even part of the canon. They ripped out a part that kept people still in that galaxy. Right. And that was horrible.
I don't want to take that away from anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's just, I never really got into it, but then it was like, okay, so I had the tapes, those were tapes that I wore out 2-3 times over. There was a couple movies I knew by heart, and by the time I got to be, in my formative years, I guess you would call it, in high school. So, I mean, I kind of at that point knew my trajectory in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew it was going to have something to do with, entertainment and genre entertainment, especially, I guess.
Right. That's awesome. PJ of the Orville Nation, give us a little, just the beginning of it. What brought you in? When did you realize
you're nerdum, PJ?
Yes. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Well,
I love having you on, Steve.
This is kind of a hard question because, I mean, I don't know. I've always been involved. I mean, it's kind of always been a part of my life. I guess I could say that the earliest memory I have of going to the movie theaters was when I was 4 to see Star Wars. And so I am the oldest person here. So,
are you? When were you? I didn't realize you were older than me.
So, yeah. So, and it's a very vivid memory of being in that movie theater. And so when you see everything just go to the crapper with the way it has with Star Wars, it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's a part of our lives. And so when I was a little bit older, I got into, when I was probably like around 10 is when I started getting into Star Trek and stuff, because I had some older family members who were into it. So.
And was that the original?
The original, yeah, first TOS, yeah, first TOS, because Next Generation wasn't around yet,
right?
And then once Roddenberry, and I remember once when TNG came out, I remember like, oh my God, we're gonna tape every episode because you wanted to be able to watch it again, because back then, unless you taped it, you could probably not watch it till God knows when. So
I always wondered that about because I'm not a Trekkie. When Star Trek came out in the 60s, it lasted 3 seasons?
Yes.
When did it go into did it go into a true syndication? Did it just get, bought and sold, or like how did that, Steven, how did that happen?
Like, syndication is what kept it alive for a couple decades. There was also the cartoon that came out, although it wasn't well received, had some of the main actors in it. If you want to look at some funny comedy, check out the Star Wars animated series or Star Trek animated series in the 70s. But yeah, syndication is the reason that kept it alive. And actually Star Wars is the reason that we got a Star Trek motion picture. Star Wars, I was born in 77. of May, just in time for A New Hope, or Star Wars, as it's rightfully called. And, that really pole vaulted a lot of different franchises into development. We got Superman out of that. We got Star Trek out of that. Motion pictures. We got a lot of different. We got things like Kroll. If you remember Kroll,
Oh yeah.
There's been a lot of different franchises were started, survived, lived, and died during that time period. And I was alive for all of it. I mean, I was an infant when most of it was happening. By the time I came to the age of reason and watching these things, there was already entire lists of movies that had been inspired by Star Wars. And it really shaped my being. My dad was a nerd. He was a geek. Well, he wasn't a nerd. He was a geek. He was a party geek. And so he introduced me to a lot of things. His love of Star Trek, most of all, which is something we still share to this day. Also, Batman, the 60s series. I love that show. Burgess Meredith will always be my penguin. And I just grew in it. Dungeons and Dragons, played that a lot, just like, kind of like how Mary got into it too. Did that with friends, even DM'd myself a few times. I was also a writer. I did a lot of writing. I was very imaginative. I remember I have composition books probably leading back to when I was 8 years old, just writing different stories. And I would always look for new material and get inspired by different things. Also, not just in the science fiction genre, but the fantasy genre. I mean, things like Excalibur. Excalibur really, it was also the first time I ever saw Patrick Stewart, because I didn't see Dune at that point. But that was something that led into kind of a love of lore in a different direction, in an historical direction. And so I began to just go through the pages of history, got a real interest in that, coupled with my science fiction and my writing and my fantasy aspect. I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater with my grandmother, God rest her soul. And the only time I really got interested or invested in Star Wars after that, because there were so many other things that I was enjoying, was probably the video games. And I really enjoyed the fantasy aspect of it, the power of the Jedi, the struggle between good and evil. And that comes from my Wiccan upbringing. Those kinds of things mean something to me on a philosophical and spiritual level. So That was my attachment. But when it came to pure just loving something more than anything else, it would have to be Star Trek. It was the classical music of science fiction. And it was paced, and it was well thought, and it had a message. And so as I've gone through the decades and appreciated different kinds of franchises and entertainment, I come to looking at Picard, which is better than Discovery, but it's still not Star Trek. And it makes me upset because I've loved these things for so long. And then I'm also reviewing Battlestar Galactica, doing a retro review on the Pegasus Actual podcast on Supreme Heretics channel every Thursday. And I'm getting a chance to watch these shows again and seeing what good writing is, what great acting is. Edward James Olmos, just all these great, all these actors these senior actors and actors that were just starting out at the time, a well-written script. Now, I know for those of you Battlestar fans out there, I know there's a controversy between the original and the sci-fi version. I happen to love both, but it just is what it is. And so, I just that's where all my love in the shortest possible way I can say it comes from sci-fi and entertainment and fantasy.
And that wasn't at 1.5 times speed either, folks. That was live.
That was live.
I have had coffee. I've had a lot of coffee.
No, that was cool, man. You're just like on it.
That's why I'm
over here sounding like Chong, man. I'm like, yeah, man, nerd stuff's cool, man.
Well, my voice isn't as sexy as Mary's and not as energetic. All right, so I got to do something.
I would say it's certainly at least as energetic.
I would say, yeah, you were just like, give me some sugar. I got sugar. That's Coke. Okay, good thing. It looks like sugar. It's fine. I'm just kidding. I'm just picking on you, brother. That
slurp sound was sexy, Tom.
Oh, baby.
And while we were talking, another member of the fourth wave snuck in, a little Immortal Coil. What's up, brother?
Not much. It's good to be amongst you folks again. Happy fucking birthday, Sport.
Yeah, a couple weeks late, but
not just a happy birthday, but a happy fucking birthday.
I take that, brother. Thank you.
Because if you ain't fucking tonight, then what are we all doing here?
Yeah, I'm married with 2 kids. But anyways, so no, for the people in the chat, this was supposed to happen. These people are fantastic. All right. The panelists, this was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. My wife got really sick. My daughters got really sick, and it dragged on till tonight. And I just appreciate everyone keeping with them saying they'd be on my panel. And if you haven't subscribed to them, I'm shocked, first off, but second, please do. Some of us are still trying to reach that 1,000 mark. I'm at like 482 finally. So maybe we can get me to 500 one of these days. But Immortal, the question tonight is, and we're just starting off real quick, just what brought you into loving, what was the first thing you truly loved in sci-fi, fantasy, something like that?
Well, it's funny. I was kind of born knowing that there was something wrong with the world. Like humanity just wasn't acting like it ought to. And when I looked out for answers, sci-fi and comic books and things like that seemed to point the way. And to kind of play off something that Steven said, the really good sci-fi and comic artists, whatever you want to call them, always drew inspiration from like earlier tones where I'm sorry, my dog is bitching about the same thing too.
Let him bitch.
Yeah, he's upset with Disney too. So, and a good example would be probably how Star Trek interjects elements of Shakespeare into it. Remember the movie Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country? One of the Klingons argue that Shakespeare was at his best in the Klingon language. So you start to wonder, and then you see in TNG when they act out scenes like Picard and Data on the holodeck acting out a piece of King Henry. I forget which King Henry act it was. So it gets you to go back and dig and even dig into elements of prehistory. You know, Star Trek had that Gilgamesh epic. Who the fuck is that? Well, okay, let's go back. Let's ask ourselves the questions that are really deep and meaningful. I really appreciate that. Now, my father would tell me that the first movie that I saw was Return of the Jedi. But because I was born in 1981, I have no memory of that in the theater. I'm glad that happened. I had a Millennium Falcon that I proceeded to beat to shit because I didn't realize what it was or, you know. But again, this idea of like psychic telekinetic knights using martial arts to defend the weak and uphold the law and all that kind of stuff really resonated with me.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a deep well, you know, and I think at its best, sci-fi really shows the most the best of humanity while eliminating the cautionary path that the world could take. Again, like Terminator, you know, we're very close to actually having that happen. You know,
yeah, no,
the Matrix, things like that. Yeah,
I think that's a very perfect way of putting it. Now, granted, it's been going in like it has always been from when I believe sci-fi and fantasy. It's always tries, you know, good conquering evil, and it just seems not to be. That's not the way it goes anymore. Like the evil was once the good, and now they have to conquer their own. You know, like they're just not following that same formula anymore of the hero's journey. It's more, you know.
Well, the powers that be are trying to define what evil should be, and what we think is evil is not congruent with what they want us to think evil is. So here we have this disparity.
Wow. So we went from Steven jacked up on coffee to the, you know, Socrates. Wow. All right. And just real quick for me, I mean, Mary, I kind of like really relate to what you said because I loved anything sci-fi fantasy when I was a kid. The first movie I saw in the movie theaters was Return of the Jedi. I remember it like vividly. And I loved Dungeons and Dragons. I liked comic books. Any Saturday morning cartoon, I was watching it. Transformers, GoBots, even, you know, Hanna-Barbera stuff. But it was when I got to high school, I felt like I had to hide that side of me. You know, I fell to that pressure of, I played sports, so it was like either or, I thought. And it wasn't until I got out of school that I realized, and it was actually a little bit after I got out of school and The Lord of the Rings came out in the theater. And I was like, I am never hiding this again. I love this stuff, you know, and I've actually stopped watching this stuff and reading this stuff for years. It's like almost like a closeted geek, you know, and I let my geek flag fly after that. So I kind of relate to like a lot of the stuff you guys have been saying.
That's a good point. It's not an either or. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, society kind of tries to tell you that when you're growing up, well, the ages we are, like you were either, cliques, you were either the Breakfast Club, one of these people, which one are you? I mean, we even studied that in psychology, like which group were you in, and the truth of the matter is we're all complicated people and we all enjoy what we enjoy. So I thank you guys for sharing your stories. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the chat because actually more people have shown up. And if Steven, if you don't mind taking that, the link that was at the top of the private chat and queuing that up, if you don't mind, because I can never read it off my own crappy screen. And your voice is amazing. So if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Or do I have to do that? Anyone?
I don't know what you're trying to do.
Trying to get
article.
you to screen share a link. Yeah, I'm on my cell phone. Elsewise, I would do it.
Oh, damn dogs.
All right, so let's just say hey, we got Drew, Supreme Heretic, in the chat. Larry, what is up? The memes of destruction. Wow, thank you for stopping by. Again, Chris Persia. We have, I saw one of my very first, I always say his name wrong. I'm sorry, brother. Exhaled Silence. And he is actually the first person who wasn't me or a family member or me again. That was one of my subs. So I appreciate that. It was him. And then Gary was my next one. So he was actually my first real person I didn't know. So I appreciate that. And Midnight's Edge is in the chat. So we got an article we're going to take a look at. Last night on the Fourth Wave, if you watched that, we discussed a little story about a school in California.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at that school, they were doing a fundraiser, right, Immortal? It was a fundraiser. They were trying to raise money for what again?
Fundraiser. Yeah. So they were trying to raise money for their schools because, nobody wants to be taxed into their asshole. But they decided to hold a showing of The Lion King, starring Darth Vader. Let's be honest.
Close enough. Yeah. So they showed The Lion King at their school, little grammar school. They raised some money for the school, and then they proceeded to get a notice. And that notice was from Disney. And Disney pretty much hit them with like a licensing hit. Like they were pretty much
like a $250 exhibition fee.
The company that handles the licensing for
to be honest,
in various franchises.
To be honest, this is not the first time they've done this. They've done this way back to the VHS days. They used to threaten daycare centers when they would show videos and stuff. Technically, it is illegal. It's public exhibition, and not only that, they're getting money from it, which is another law that's being broke.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like it's a school, man, I get it. Leave them alone. And obviously Iger stepped up to the plate and he's doing the right thing. It's more than Eisner ever did. So that's one thing I can say about him. Because they were real dicks about it. You go back and look, there's tons of stories about daycare centers that got hit with all kinds of fines for showing Disney movies.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But how did they even find out, man? That's my question.
It's public exhibition. So like either somebody who works for Disney or they happen to see it. And the thing is it just has to do with the department that saw it, went and did their job. And it's not like Bob Iger said, go do this. And then he changed his mind. You know what I mean? It was just more or less somebody complained. And then he saw, it was a school. They were just trying to do a fundraiser. He's trying to do the right thing. I'll give him credit. That's about all he's going to get out. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. So quick, Steven, Orville has to bounce. He has something going on. What's going on, Orville?
Well, I wanted to make some room for other people to come in, and also I'm going to go on John Talks for a little bit. So
nice,
Scotty. Thanks for inviting me, dude.
Definitely,
I think this is this live thing that you're doing that you usually don't do. I think is awesome, and I want to be invited again. So.
Oh, definitely. You're always invited, man. If I have an opening, you are there, my friend.
Well, good night, gentlemen and lady. Have a good night, guys.
Take care.
Nice
to meet you, Real Nation.
Bye.
But yeah, it is technically illegal to show a movie outside of your home without a license. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to side with Disney or anything like that. I'm just saying it is technically illegal.
Right. And I was talking with, real quick, George Peter Gassis last night. We were doing a live stream together, and he brought up the point, it's not illegal. they're doing what actually they should do, which is pay $250 for this. But now that this, he also said, now that this door has been opened, why not hold fundraisers for thousands of people where you pay $2 or $3 at the door and give donations to whatever you want to donate to, and then just show Disney movies.
Unbelievable.
Well, the thing that strikes me is, did Bob Iger step up and do the right thing once it got to the press? You know?
Probably.
Well, it had to get to the press first, I imagine. So, I mean, and I don't know. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here because the public apology probably made this far more wide-reaching because I hadn't heard about it before this. So a little bit of credit there, but at the same time, dude, what the fuck?
It gets so much better, Mary.
What about the Lion King? Yeah, we also. Hey, Bear, what's going on, my friend?
Hey.
Introduce yourself. Come on. I am sucky at this. I got to get a lot of practice, so jump in.
Bear's with a green screen. He may glitch out on you once in a while. Just be prepared.
No,
he's
the man so great. You have to say his name 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it's not that other program that I have. That thing stopped working for some reason. Chroma Cam, I believe it was called. Now it's just built-in green screen with StreamYard, which is very convenient.
There you go. Well, thank you for stopping in, Bear. I appreciate it. So Stephen, you weren't able to bring that up, so I will try to do it on mine, but I will tell you right now, it's going to freeze up. That's your fault, Stephen.
Hold on.
All right. So while you do that, I know, Mary, you're going to have to get going soon.
Hi, Mary.
This. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you know Bear? You Bear? Mary, Bear? Okay.
Yeah,
Bear. All right. I'm bringing people together. So I really appreciate you coming. I wanted to say this while we're out here, and hold on one second. Somebody else talk because my dehumidifier just kicked on.
Scott's humidifier just kicked on, so we got to
do it live.
We'll do it live.
So how noisy is that dehumidifier?
I think I heard it momentarily.
I did hear it. Yeah, it was
sounded like a plane.
Probably about as bad as my computer.
I don't know. Man. All those rock and roll concerts I've been to must be catching up with me. I didn't hear it.
They're driving
like the
car.
screen of a Sith Lord.
Woo, okay. Let's try that again.
If you ever go see George Thorogood live, bring earplugs.
Scotty, which article do you want? Do you want the one about the fundraiser? Because we pretty much covered that. Or do you want the other one?
The other one that's at the very top of my the private chat.
Gotcha.
So we're echoing again. It drives me crazy. I don't know why that keeps happening. But Mary, I wanted to say this while you were still here. When I was just a wee YouTube channel, you reached out. You offered me like time with you and Tom and Rob and people that I've been watching for a while, and allowed me to come on your show and kind of fumble through it and cut people off, and had to learn how to kind of share, which I don't do on the Fourth Way, but on yours channel I do. And I just don't. I want you to really know, like, you mean a lot to me. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. I would say a lot of my subs have come through you introducing me to them, just like Tom. So thank you very much.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. And look, it's true when we say things like, we rise together and we talk about the fandom menace and the community that is built here. It's a sincerity behind that, guys. It's very true and very genuine. We spend time with one another. We're in group chats together. We talk, we hang out, we act like dumbasses together. Yeah. And there's a genuine camaraderie that comes with that, and Spork, you're such a part of that now. You came on the scene, you made your presence known, and we looked at you and said, well, now there's a worthwhile contributor to the community, and so embraced.
Mary and I know how to we know talent when we see it. Sorry.
Well, and thanks to Tom, a lot of thanks goes to Tom for a lot of the progress I've had on my own channel. So just call it pay it forward. When you get there and when you hit that point where, you're rocking 10, 15, 20, 50, 100,000 subscribers, I hope that you will remember and do what you can to help other people as well. We pay it forward.
I plan on crushing every small YouTube channel that comes out that tries to take my throne. I will.
I like payment in golden toilet seats.
And I will remember that.
I like gold cougarans.
If you could just send me a lot of chocolate, that would be great.
Yeah, Mary likes
Deal.
chocolate.
Gold
Deal.
foil covered chocolates. Yes, that would be cool.
Yes. Or I will also take payment in the form of orange sherbet or deviled eggs.
I'm writing this down.
Ooh. Orange sherbet, really? You go there, huh? That's your thing.
That's
All right.
orange sherbet. If you don't have orange, rainbow will suffice. But yeah.
Yes, that's the one I usually always remember. My kids love the rainbow sherbet. I am more of an ice cream guy, but I will do it for you.
But yeah,
definitely do it for you.
I would prefer to have deviled eggs along with that, you know.
Yeah, my
So
boys
you're
like
sitting in a bar, a gentleman
like that
walks
pineapple.
up to you and says, "Excuse me, ma'am," and out of his hand comes a deviled egg, and you're just
I would swoon
Yep.
and immediately
Flummoxed.
jump in his arms. My heart is yours. I will follow where you lead.
ooh.
Give me that deviled egg.
And guys in the chat right now are taking notes. All right, I see it.
Your PO box is going to be very smelly, Mary.
Do you really
Wow, that
want to
kinda
be with a
sounded
woman
dirty.
who eats deviled eggs all the time?
That's awesome. Well, we're gonna start.
You
with this
don't get how
article.
men think. That just means we know that you'll put things in your mouth most women won't.
Tom is my sage. You, man.
Taught you all I have. Nothing more can I.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to go ahead and scoot. I've got this kiddo to get into bed and get him handled. And I have several videos to shoot. And hopefully we'll be able to find time to make it over to John Talks as well sometime tonight. So yeah.
Thank you,
Be a
Mary.
good mama.
We have a great stream, guys. Mwah.
Without you.
Bye, guys. Love you, Tom. Mwah.
Bye bye.
Tom
All right.
doesn't get to leave.
All right.
You must stay.
Now we
I
can
will
be
try.
ourselves.
Ready?
The woman's gone.
Yeah, I'm taking my pants off.
Can you feel
Oh, we're gonna go through
the
this one.
love
All right.
tonight?
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was this one.
But this one's a good one too, because I don't know. We have a lot of different people in the chat tonight, so this is actually, I think, a good one to go over. And
Yes,
if
everybody-
you've all, just let
This
us know in
is
the chat
Kimba.
if you saw this one.
This is
Yeah, go ahead.
Simba.
Kimba
Uh-huh.
and Simba. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to just take it over. I'm just this is Kimba, and this is Simba. All
Well,
right,
then-
but Disney says there's no correlation between these two.
They
This one came out
basically, you're right. There isn't, because they stole the story for Hamlet. So
They did steal the
Right.
story for Hamlet. Tom, I'm talking
I brought
about
that up
these two.
yesterday. I couldn't remember. I said Shakespeare because I was like, is it Hamlet? I can't freaking remember if it's
Yeah, it was
Hamlet or
Hamlet.
Macbeth.
And then
All right, it was
then they
Hamlet.
stole all the characters and shit from that. Yeah, that's that Japanese, or is it Australian? I can't remember which.
It's Japanese, and I learned how to
Japanese.
say it right. Tezuka.
Oh,
Mhm.
Tezuka.
Yes, I was on a live stream last night with someone who reads manga, and so I asked them to pronunciate it for me correctly.
Nice.
Tezuka.
That
This is
why you
like
brought
one of
it
the
up.
oldest. This is so old. This predates the internet. That's how old this conspiracy is.
Yes. It's
Oh,
a-
yeah. The anime came out
Yeah.
in like 65. It was actually the first color anime thing that was broadcast on Japanese TV.
yeah, let's-
Oh, so I misunderstood that last night.
Look
I
at
thought it
this
was
now. This is
25 years
concept
old.
art. Yeah.
I mean,
don't know
it's
that
not
we
even,
got
it's not really even just the art. What it is the story, the brother. He's absolutely right. It is Shakespearean, but like I said last night, Disney always does this. I mean, they go back to, Hansel and Gretel and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and
Apparently
Aladdin.
Nemo's a ripoff too, I heard.
Well, honestly, I was just gonna say. Honestly, I don't have so much issue with this. It's funny you bring up Nemo, and that being a ripoff. Every Pixar movie, except for maybe Toy Story, is pretty much another movie reformatted into whatever they want.
What about Wally?
That was Short Circuit.
Well,
Yeah.
it was kind of a
Not-
mix between several different things, but
Wally was Short Circuit. But
yeah,
not
Wally
like
himself
the
was based
story.
on Johnny.
That
Five,
was
yeah.
a
Yeah,
fat
yeah.
white people. in
But
a
the best
bag in
example
outer
is-
space.
The best example is Cars is a straight up ripoff of Doc Hollywood. If you've seen Doc Hollywood and you've seen Cars, you know they
Oh,
are
yeah.
the exact same movie. There's no difference. They're the same plot for plot, beat for beat, point for point, except for change out Doctor with the race car. That's it.
Wow. Now, so wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Nemo is some other story.
Yeah, that one I've heard is actually a ripoff. Like they actually stole the story, and that's very plausible. That I have nothing to base it on.
Holy cow, you're right.
Can we just
even
hear
down to the red car?
Yeah, it is. It's he breaks it. It's the exact same fucking story.
There, bring up a picture of that.
Yeah, let's see this picture. But while we're doing that, what did you hear about Nemo? What is the story behind that? You always have the story, Tom.
Well, it's the same thing about Brave. There's been a few of those latter Pixar movies. A lot of them were accused of stealing the ideas from other animators or other stories that they were pitched that were similar. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somebody please correct me if I'm not, but Nemo was one of those stories that was supposedly pitched by somebody else, and then all of a sudden, no, we don't need that. We got something just like it, kind of thing.
That is unbelievable. You know, like, a lot of these companies, they do these shady things in the backside of it. They do all these shady stuff. You know, they grow and they destroy their competitor.
I need drugs for that.
Well, in their defense, I will say
They
this:
destroy their competitors' backs.
chances are, if you think of something 10 times out of 10 times out of 10, somebody else has already thought of it before.
Correct.
So a lot of times,
try to explain it, but it's also like the independent creator does something good, and then the huge studio has the muscle to ensure that they get their way.
They get the credit
as it looks in this picture with Mufasa and Kufasa.
Yeah, something like that. Well, like I was saying, Mufasa.
It's not alike at all.
It's Mufasa.
We changed it enough. I mean,
yeah. Look, we made ours purple and theirs is white. Let's just go with it.
Our lawyers told us all we had to do was change one letter and one color. It's 25% different.
Got some good examples of those cars.
25% different.
Now, Tom, I said that last night before we look at the cars. I said that last night about look at George R.R. Martin. Now, that's one of my biggest. If you want to talk my dork entrance to YouTube, it's Game of Thrones, but really a Song of Ice and Fire. I am a huge Song of Ice and Fire nerd, and he really took a lot from Tolkien, but he also took a lot from Lovecraft and the hero's journey, the heart and conflict. Like he took from all different, but it wasn't that he was taking their stuff and stealing it. He was inspired by it. And maybe that's a thin line, but you could tell the difference when you see it.
And the greatest thing that he did was add breasts. Thank you. Nudity, good.
A lot of movies.
Yes.
And brother and sister stuff too, right?
Well, okay, that not so good. But
no. Back that one
Some
up.
people are into that.
George has some major family issues that needed to be I'm sure he's had therapy, but
I think the therapy is that damn
therapy. Tom is looking out for George Martin's mental and emotional health, and I think that needs to be applauded.
Yeah,
and
now isn't the old car kind of almost the same model as this too in the movie? I can't remember the one that.
There's an example right here, right in the middle.
Yeah,
it's updated. I mean, it's not.
Only difference is it's not a ragtop in cars.
Yeah, so he's a race car. That's the other problem.
But basically, Porsche is like a race car,
But what is it? What are they ripping off?
The entire story. Have you ever seen the movies? Have you seen Doc Hollywood? Have you seen Cars?
I've seen Doc Hollywood.
Okay, Cars is the exact same story as Doc Hollywood. Only change out, how Michael J. Fox is this up and coming doctor who's heading out to Hollywood to be a plastic surgeon, gets stuck in a small town on the way because he gets in an accident, and he gets stuck doing
great movie.
Yeah, and it's the same story with Cars, only just change out instead of a doctor, he's a race car, and he gets stuck in a little town by destroying this fence and shit, just like he does in Doc Hollywood, and he gets forced to work off his time and blah blah blah. It's the same fucking story.
Tom, you're destroying my childhood.
People's in love with this girl and all this. Yeah.
So this is Warner Brothers. So this is Disney ripping off Warner Brothers.
And Doc Hollywood was not like a flopper. It was a big hit.
7 million.
Mm-hmm.
Opening weekend Opening
Doc
weekend,
Hollywood,
7 million.
It's arguably
Hollywood
Michael
was
J. Fox's
after-
biggest film besides the Back to the Future films, I bet.
Gross,
It's close
54
to it.
million.
It's either that or The Secret of My Success.
I don't know if that one did as well. That one
No?
was
Okay.
kind of.
Is there a
I'd have
number
to look.
adjusted for inflation, Bear?
I'm just looking at the IMDb box office.
Gotcha. No, because like we're older, so when we hear that,
Yeah.
we're like, oh wow.
Oh
that's
yeah, you
opening.
are right. You are right.
opening
Scott, I
weekend.
apologize. Secret of My Success did 111 million. I apologize.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember that being big, but I was going to think you were right and not trust my own self.
I just,
so
for some reason, I remember Doc Hollywood being a huge hit for some reason. I don't know why.
No, it was a decent hit. It was decent, you know.
Because I also remember, I think
money.
it was a sell-through video of all things, which was strange.
I have to say that movie did inspire me to want to have a pet pig.
Hey, cumulative worldwide, 54 million. So actually almost 55 million. You know?
Doc Hollywood.
Yeah.
And what year was that again?
91, man.
91? Yeah.
That's that 91, you know. That's a good
And then
chunk of
Teen Wolf did do 80 million, but that was on the heels of right on the heels of Back to the Future, too.
Yeah,
I still
bumping
enjoy
that.
Teen Wolf.
I love Teen Wolf. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I love that movie. When he's on top of the, what does he say? Cheese, Louis. It took me years to figure out what he was saying.
Well, hey, Tom, thanks for putting this movie back on my radar. I got to.
Oh, I love Doc Hollywood. That's great. I love Michael J. Fox. A lot of his movies are better than most people give him credit for. I love like Greedy and For Love or Money was another good one he did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right, boys, I
excellent.
gotta get out of here, man. So I want to say, hail Spork, hail the chat, hail the panel.
It's good hanging with you again in Mortal Coral. It's been a while.
Anytime, man. You're always welcome.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this. Like we fucking did karaoke on Mary's channel like a long time ago.
Oh, I've done it so many times, but I'm sure it's been. I know
Me,
we've
you,
done
and,
streams together. Yeah.
Me, you, and Mecca. You know, that was actually my geeking moment. I'm like, oh my god, I'm hanging out with Fandom minutes, but I can't sound all stupid. So I sang drunk. All right, you guys, take it easy. I will talk to you later.
Have fun.
Thank you, brother.
So, what'd you think of that belated birthday thumbnail?
I liked it, man. I already had the thumbnail up, so
I know you
didn't
did.
put it in. So
I know you did.
I
was just making that for your birthday, man. That's for.
Well,
whatever
I'm
you
going to
wanna
share
do it.
that actually, if you don't mind. I'm
Yeah,
going
I
to share
made that
it
for you.
Yeah.
Bear's gonna send it to him in a card with a lipstick kiss on it. It's gonna be beautiful.
What two bears do is none of your business, okay? Steven, don't be jealous. Do not be jealous. We're both deadheads. So, can you freaking finally bring up the CBR one, Steven?
I didn't even look it up, man. I'm doing six different things
at the
at once.
bottom. It's at the bottom of the private chat. My computer sucks. I am not the best YouTuber. Can you just please help me, man?
The Bob Iger one.
Yes. What have we been talking about?
I haven't been paying attention, man. All right, I'm on some fuel. Tonight. I'm on some fuel, caffeine and cannabis. All right, okay.
So Larry just said 54 million now is 101 million. So not bad
for a comedy like that. And I bet the budget was only probably, I don't know, probably 15, 20 million, if that.
Right
there, Scotty.
All
and
right,
I'll even read it for you.
Oh, I was really hoping you'd do that. Hold on, here we go.
17 million. I was close.
Not bad.
It's not bad. What was the budget?
17 million.
Oh, 17 million. Oh, yes.
So they made 54 in the US.
Just let me know, Scotty. I am your tool.
Yeah, no, start it up. I was just looking at one person I have not seen. How do you say that? Is that Tatsunami? Tatsunami?
I don't fucking know.
Well,
I gotta look at it.
In the chat.
Tatsunami.
I just wanted to say,
Tatsunami, yeah.
Don't mess that up. Is that a name? Awesome. Don't mess that up.
I thought you were talking about the words to the Simba song. I'm like, I don't fucking know. They just
Tom, can you sing that over the introduction of the ebook for the Fandom Menace Volume 1? Just you singing it. That's how it opens.
I sing goodbye. I pray for beloved Fandom Menace. Fandom Menace. And the
And then you get beat down, and it's Bat Tom beating that dude down. Just shut up. Or something like that. Oh God.
The circle of life.
Sing it, brother. I still have not been invited on karaoke, but whatever.
Really?
Yeah, no, I
will make this happen, Scott.
I was joking, my friend.
He
I
wasn't
don't
joking,
know.
but thank you, Tom.
No, I wasn't joking either. All I got to do is say to Mary, I'm not showing up if you don't bring Scott on, and she will either make it happen or I will not be on karaoke that week, I guess.
All right, we'll make that happen at some point down the road.
She may call my bluff. I don't know.
She's getting big, buddy. She's getting big time. She might not need it, you know. Adios, Tom. So thanks for.
I'll be like Picard in the beginning of this recent episode.
I did not see it, but I heard
he's acting all surprised because he said if you don't do what I say, then you accept my resignation, and it's like they accepted my resignation. It's like, what the fuck did you expect?
God. It's not.
You're old.
Hey,
you're the government.
My mom does not like Star Trek Picard.
Your mom doesn't?
She does not like it.
Now let me tell you something. Bear's mom has the taste that. All right, you have to listen to Bear's mom.
No. You got to understand something. My mom tends to kind of like a little bit of everything,
right?
And it really has to be really, really sucky for her not to like something.
Bear's mom is the bar. If Bear's mom says it's bad, it's bad. We need to get this woman free copies of movies that are coming out so she can let us know. She can be like our informant. You do your own show, Bear's mom.
Now she's a huge fan.
She was probably a fan because me and my dad watched it. She liked it, and me and my dad were more Trekkies than my mom was, but my mom liked it. My mom liked The Next Generation, like Star Trek, stuff like that. And there were some bad episodes, there were some good episodes, and right off the bat, my mom's like, "This is not good." My mom had questions.
That was it. And Bear knew, damn, I gotta watch this shit.
Now, did you guys, all three of you guys, watch it already?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I saw it.
Give me your take on it, because I'm a normie when it comes to Star Trek. I like Next Generation.
Tom is a professional, the Midnight's Edge employee. Break this down, sir, please.
Oh, this latest episode?
Yes.
Oddly, it wasn't as bad as the first two. But that doesn't mean it's that good. I mean, it's still heading towards a fucking disaster.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second. Script Doctor, check your DM. It's in the link, buddy. Come in. Come into your DMs.
But
slide in, bro.
Yeah, if anybody's watched our video with the Reddit leaks or the 4chan leaks or whatever, they're all pretty much coming true. So we got a pretty good idea of where this is headed. The next episode, it's supposed to really head off a cliff, and it almost looks like it looks like the next episode takes place in Lord of the Rings, for fuck's sake.
No, oh my God, are you serious?
No, I'm not kidding.
See,
it looks like Rivendell or whatever the fuck.
Oh my God, Rivendell. God, is the world beautiful at least? Like, is there anything good about it? Because I've just heard beautiful. I heard so many negative things.
The Legolas Romulan was great. The Blackulin looked good. Like, there was a lot of different things that looked good in that final scene. And the Romulans still just look like this crazy diverse race of way different people. Like, the show does not know what exactly a Romulan is. Now, look, I can get breaking up a species that is an offshoot of the Vulcans, who traveled through space and settled a planet, and then settled several planets, depending upon their region. I could see certain evolutionary changes in there being, a subsex of the Romulans, just like in the original series there was for humans. But the show is all over the place. I mean, it's so extremely all over the place. Yeah. From the old lady Irish Romulan at the house, Chateau Picard, to the punk rock, to the steampunk Romulan that was, that's on the board cube, to the regular looking Romulans. And now next week we're going to get Legolums, and we're going to get,
in Rivendell.
Now, I'm not going to use Blackulin too much because there has been one or two black actors that have played Romulans, but for the most part, they've been a green-skinned or, in older canon, a dark brown skin, like a Middle Eastern type skin. So I'm not going to make fun of that too much. I really don't care. But, you know, it's like they don't know the source material, or they're trying to change and alter the source material so much that it's just a little bit recognizable with a few different tunes and one or two different characters and, you know, a well-placed small piece of music during a scene. And then everything else is like the drama music of a Hallmark Channel freaking drama episode.
Yeah,
of
sometimes
whatever.
the music's great, and then you're right. Then they'll do this weird music between cuts, and it feels like you're watching a motherfucking 90210 episode or something.
What is that, Tom?
Not the one.
I
not
don't know. And you're right about the editing thing. What is it? There's something off. Like I don't know if you've done a lot of editing videos, Steven, or not, but they keep cutting back to Soji or whatever fuck her name is between her and the Romulans and Picard, and the timing doesn't seem to match up.
No,
like it's like you have like a lot of time going between the cuts with Picard, but then you keep cutting back to Soji, and her shit seems to be happening in real time. Like when she's talking to that fucked up Romulan that had that lady. Yeah. It's like, okay, wait a minute. She's still sitting there. How much time just went by? This makes no sense to me.
If you took all the scenes in between that scene, like to where it was clipped up, it's only like a 4-minute scene,
right?
Just show the whole scene instead of.
I was confused as fuck too. I'm like, wait a minute here. They're using this to cover up something. That's why that scene's cut up. That's the only thing I can see as an editor, because the timing doesn't work if you go between. Because usually when you're trying to intercut scenes, they're happening at the same time for a reason. You never want to intercut two scenes. It's stupid. It distracts your viewer.
What did they jump from one in the middle of one?
Yes, in the middle of a scene, they keep jumping back and forth from two completely different locations, dealing three actually, because they keep jumping to the attic chick who's supposed to be getting Picard a fucking ship. Because she's doing her stuff at the same time Picard's doing his thing, and then they're showing her doing that thing, I think, all at the same motherfucking time.
And she's doing drugs. Don't forget that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
I noticed that, you know how the scene switching they were doing in The Witcher? How they were
I haven't
switching?
seen that, so I can't comment.
Well, okay, well that
they weren't doing the time thing, but they were doing the scene switching the same as the format in The Witcher. Oh, they weren't going back and forth, but they were switching in a similar fashion.
But let me ask you this, Bear. Was it like in The Witcher, it was needed for the story because their stories all began so far distant times. You know, one was 50 years, one was 20 years. Like when they jumped between these different scenes, was it needed?
They were trying to be edgy, and it just didn't come off edgy.
Yeah, there's different ways to cut this stuff. I get what you're saying, Scott. You're saying like, okay, you're in a scene and somebody's revealing some information, right? And then you'll flash back to something. A flashback is different than cutting to a scene.
This isn't a flashback. See, what happened in The Witcher, what happens in The Witcher is the story is being told, and if you don't mind me telling you.
No, go ahead. I haven't had time to watch it.
So the story's being told, and it isn't until, at least for me, even though it is obvious in episode 1, it took me till episode 4 to realize that the three different major characters, they're all being told in different times. So like
they did the
young
same
girl
thing with Westworld, and you didn't know until the last episode of the
there
season.
you go. Yeah, it wasn't as obvious though. Westworld, you kind of knew that it was two different times.
You figured something was up, yeah.
But the way
go ahead, man.
But the theme of what they're doing through telling the past, present, and then while moving into the future, just the whole makeup of the show. That's what made the editing sequences inside them just seem right, because that was how the whole show was going. It wasn't exact. It wasn't.
That's a stylistic choice. Yeah. See, the difference here is what I'm talking about is you're talking about an actual scene. In this case, like I said, 3 different scenes. 2 of them you can cut together, which would be the Picard and him talking to the black chick. I can't think of her name now. But if you cannot cut the Soji shit in there between the Shoji, like Scott was saying, you have that scene play out, then you intercut the other 2 scenes,
right?
Because you never want to interrupt a scene unless there's something that's happening simultaneously, or or it helps that scene you're in. Like if you have something like
right, the other
like
scene's affecting that scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you see like something like, oh, somebody figures out something in one place while somebody's figuring out the same thing, and kind of like a perfect example of this.
Connection.
Yeah, is the Dark Knight. When you realize that you think Batman's going to the place where she's at, and you realize, oh fuck, he's not. He's going where he's at, and oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those kind of the way they intercut those scenes. That's how you do that to kind of tease the audience, and you're not making them feel cheated by the end. This is just sloppy fucking editing. This is just to cover up something or to cut between shit because they didn't have something else to cut to. That's
let me
all
jump
it is.
in real quick. Script doctor, check your Twitter DM and get in here. He's still talking in the chat. I don't know what he's doing.
He might be
chilling
busy.
out. That's what Bill does.
He might be working.
No, he told me after 8 o'clock he was available. Get in here now, boy. No, I see what you guys are saying. I'm sorry, script. I'm just playing around.
But what it does, and what Steven was saying, is that it confuses you because you've got all these scenes happening at the same time, but they're probably not happening at the same time.
Right.
I sent him this CBR link. Okay, sorry, buddy.
Smack yourself in the face, guys.
What an ass.
Yeah. My bad.
Well, Tom,
my bad.
but you know, like you said, the overall the show was it was not as bad as the previous 2 episodes. There were moments that I could allow myself to enjoy, because you know, when you get beaten over the head with ridiculousness and bad editing and just bad pacing, at some point you're just going to accept whatever you can accept. So there was 1 or 2 things in there that I did enjoy, but I have to say that just being trying to be forgiving of the idea that a Romulan hit squad wouldn't just beam people out of a house after taking down the alarm instead of getting into a ridiculously long fight again was just funny. And like the idiot Romulan guy that they tied to the chair, he was your average Joe human street level thug.
Yeah.
These are Romulans. Like, there's no respect to the Romulans in this show, just like there was none to the Klingons in Discovery, and that is probably one of my biggest gripes. He was just sitting there in the chair like, duh, I'm not going to tell you. That's not what a Romulan would say. He would say something like, you know, to the effect of, you will have to kill me. You know, like something serious.
Mm-hmm. Plus, on top of that, they knew about the acid tooth. They knew about the acid tooth already, so why wouldn't they like pull that sucker out so he couldn't like dissolve himself or somebody
Picard
else?
saw it already. You're right. Yeah.
They're not thinking. Well, the Romulan didn't mention it, so that's in that specific circle in that part of the story.
Yeah.
You know, with Picard, if the Romulan doesn't say something, everybody's duh. Everybody's dumb.
Well, that's the thing that gets me, man. She is like a secret CIA type person for their culture, correct? Like
she was a member of the secret police who knew about the bad guys.
She was part of the LGR.
Probably Section 31. We'll find out.
Of course, Section 31. They love Section 31. I love Section 31 because it was used very rarely. It was a great, oh my God, what's going to happen moment in Star Trek. And now it's just they have their own ships. Oh God. Here's
Gary.
Hey.
Gary from Nerdrotic. What's up, brother?
What's up?
I was not paying attention to the private chat. I think this is perfect timing for you to come in. We are talking Picard. I have not seen it yet because I will not pay for it. So I have to wait a few days until my friend online gets it. So I'm just asking these guys what they thought about it. What is your take on it, Gary? And thank you for stopping by.
Hi, is it your birthday or something?
My birthday was 2 weeks ago, but my wife came down with like some crazy sickness that lasted a while, and my kids too. So we moved it to this. But it actually was my birthday, my 10-year sober day, and my my something sub. Yeah, that's the bigger day for me right about now. But
there's the belly birthday and the other birthday.
Exactly, man.
3 out of 10, worst episode of the season. The acting was horrific. You guys were just talking about the editing. You can see the reshoots. It's the reshoots.
Oh yeah, that's been obvious, except for maybe the second episode, which I feel like the second episode, the only reason that one was probably a little outside of that like bouncing back and forth shit they did in the beginning. It felt like the end of what was supposed to be the second episode and the beginning of what was supposed to be the third episode. But Mecca and Rob are listening to a Kurtzman interview right now. One thing they already told me out of it is they realized when they got to episode 7 that the rest of the season didn't make sense. So that's where the reshoots started to happen.
Oh.
According to Kurtzman, anyway.
That is sad.
So
Yeah.
there's just them editing things.
He said that out loud.
I
in an
guess
interview?
dumb shit was dumb enough to say it.
Oh my God! Thank you, Kurtzman.
There's a video. There
He's
you go,
like
Gary.
Santa Claus in February. Oh my
I'm
God!
telling you,
that's
Gary,
great.
you keep coming to the fourth wave, guys. We always give you something. Come on, man. You could always find a video with us. And let's say hi to Script Doctor. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing well. It was thanks for the CBR link. That was actually an interesting read.
Yeah, that was my way of trying to keep you away from Tom. I'm starting to think you're his favorite, and I'm not anymore. No, just kidding. Gary, I don't know if you know Script
You
Doctor.
weren't supposed to tell anybody, Bill.
Yeah, well, Tom, I saw the note.
What? I told what now?
I told you to quit leaving little notes on my pillows. We're out of cornflakes. F you. It took me a half an hour to figure out that F you meant Felix Unger.
Oh, I love The Odd Couple.
How you doing, Script?
I'm doing well. It's been a crazy week for me. I get to talk with Gary from Nerdrotic again. We spoke briefly yesterday.
Yes. What's up, Script Doctor?
You don't have to name
I've been
drop,
trying
dude.
I've been trying to make my way through my episode 2 review of Picard, but I just keep on going off on tangents where I pick up other story threads from other television shows that they're weaving into this one. And,
I will give them credit for one thing this week. They finally acknowledged that the Romulans didn't live on just one fucking planet.
They did.
Thank God.
Because she goes, how are we going to get a multi-planet evacuation under the radar or whatever? However, I can't remember how she said it, but yeah.
That's still, how do they have an established government still?
It still doesn't make sense.
Double shadowy organizations that don't know how to beam people out.
Ugh.
And
Section 32.
But they have dumb Northerners, apparently. So did you catch that one?
Yeah, I forgot that there was a Dublin Romulus.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
like, God.
Do they actually try to answer that? Because like that took me out of the second episode. I just had no clue what was going on. She's only been there for what, 10 years, 14 years, and she has an Irish accent. What is that all about?
No, obviously they're trying to make it out that there's several different races of Romulans and they're racist against each other and shit, I think is.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But I think it was like, it's supposed to mean both. I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger's been in this country for 50 years and he still, talks like an Austrian. So
he probably does it on
Memory
purpose.
Alpha.
He does actually. The word on the street is he like kind of trumps up his accent a little bit.
I'm sure he does, because he is so fucking intelligent and he caught on to English so fast that I mean, and he's anyway. Picard was it was just bad, and even Sir Patrick Stewart's acting was horrible. I went live like right after it last night. That's why I'm so tired. I had a bunch of stuff to do today, so I can't stay on long. Sorry, because I have to go. Birds of Prey. Ugh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to see it.
You're going to go see. Oh, that's right. That's right. Gary is not a misogynist, people. All right. He is not a sexist.
I don't see the point
for Bird of Prey. He is supporting a feminist film that is going to change the next decade.
I'm going to be so empowered after I watch this. I can't wait.
Oh
my God.
So as I was like trying to get through my review,
take some hormones.
Just jump in.
I found on Memory Alpha I found a reason that why the Romulans have the two different styles of makeup. CBS added to the Memory Alpha of Star Trek that the Northern Romulans, sorry, not Ireland. The Northern Romulans have like smooth foreheads, and the Southern Romulans have the ridges, and that's why you get to see both of them. It's like there's some sort of genetic divide among Romulans now within the planet.
Do they call them ruffles?
No, they don't do any. They just separate from like North and South, like how England separates the Northerners from the Southerners, and most other countries.
Oh my God!
It just boggles my.
Who's the entitled one? Who's the entitled one?
That's
what I want to know.
I think the Northern ones are considered the more pure because they can still be blended.
They even
with
bring that up, the purity of other. Yeah.
Can we have a limit on allegories within a science fiction story when they have repetitive allegories?
No, Gary.
Oh my God, you're right.
They're
on
so
that.
on top of themselves,
Yeah,
they don't
and-
even know what they're doing anymore.
They're forgetting their own allegories.
Yeah,
They really are.
Well,
I'm waiting.
I like how. No, go ahead, Tom. I was just going to say, I
Mecca
like
and I
how
have been
Chris
joking
Persia.
since the first episode that sooner or later, next episode, we're going to see Romulans hanging out in front of like Home Depot and shit.
Damn right.
Trying to get jobs.
Jumping in
Yeah.
the back of a freaking
Yeah.
truck.
Well, that's
And,
how it has to roll.
Did you guys notice how far out the ears are sticking?
Oh,
I mean, they stick out any further,
like
they're going
Commodore
to
O.
hair.
Did you guys see Commodore O? Her ears were like straight sideways.
I saw a screenshot of it online.
I mean,
I think they stick out 25% more.
Yep.
Oh, that's close to 75%, but yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if they stick out any further, they're going to catch air and fly away.
Well, someone explain.
It's like a
to me-
Romulan Ross Perot.
Well, what's up with the? Okay, so we have bad scientist guy, whatever his name is, trying to bang the twin. Is he a Romulan?
Yes,
He's
And
a
his
Soylent-
sister
he's a
is
Soylent.
too.
and obviously
Are they-
we've come to
Are
a
they
point.
halves?
We've come to a point
Because
now
they
with
don't
all
look
these
like-
guys that we've had on this show that we know Kurtzman has a type now.
Yeah,
There's
the
more-
dark
it's
hair, a
more
little
than
bit
I
of
was-
beard,
Skinny, scrawny, dark hair, emo looking motherfucker.
facial hair. Yeah,
Got a
you're
definite
definitely
type.
right about
Got a
that.
buck tooth.
And then
A little touch of grunge.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Persia points this out. They had to evacuate multiple planets, but only had to evacuate millions of people.
That's right.
Bullshit.
Don't think about it. Don't think
Yeah.
about it too much,
What
Chris.
they only have sex like at once every 40 years as opposed to the Vulcans every 7 or something? I'm like,
This is Kurtzman Trek. It doesn't make sense. Don't dwell on it too long. Just accept it scene for scene and move along.
Did you
There was
guys
18 million
notice?
people on Romulus alone?
Wow. Did you notice the JJ type warp jump at the end?
I
Well,
wasn't even paying attention.
No,
at that
I was
point.
too busy being pissed off listening to the Star Trek The Next Generation music going off to that piece of shit ship that was taking off.
Yes.
Yep.
I think you put it perfectly. I
Jerry
guess.
Goldsmith's
Yeah.
rolling in his fucking grave right now, just going like, "Oh man."
Yeah, sorry.
My mom don't like it.
We did get to hear him say engage.
oh, wow.
Well, that's the member berry.
Oh, I fucking
Means
cringed
a
at
whole
that
lot
part.
coming from a Jerry.
I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to either be engage or make it so, and I'm like, please don't, Sam. Please don't. Oh,
You could play a football game
So I'm-
inside that ship. It's so freaking huge.
Yep.
Gary,
Well, at least
Gary,
they didn't shoot at a brewery for that one.
was there anything you liked? You gave it a 3, so there must have been something.
Yeah, I kind of Lars is. I think Lars is hot with her
Mhm.
ears. I do. I think she's got some like, mature. She's very mature, hot.
That's
I like
that's
that.
a reshoot. That's a good reshoot. That was a good character.
And it ended. It wasn't a super long episode. They're all like 40 minutes long because they're commercial breaks. All the commercial breaks.
my commercials didn't work this time on Amazon. I wonder what's up. They better not have like bumped me up to the next level without telling me. I'll be pissed. Oh, but speaking of CBS All Access, Gary, did you see the news?
No, well,
I
saw-
totally called the shit. They're combining all their shit with Viacom and Paramount and CBS All Access.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, they're going to rebrand CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Ah.
And they fired their diversity crew on the
They
from
did. I
CBS.
saw that.
Is that a victory, guys?
It could be.
It's close.
It's heading in the right
Um,
direction.
Yeah, I mean, all
Yeah,
the rumblings
I mean-
we might be hearing are true. Who knows?
90% of outside. I'll tell you this right now: the Seth Trek bullshit. That's just bullshit. I think that was started by a Facebook group. To be honest with you, and I think it was the same Facebook group that started the other rumor about what is it? Red. What the hell's the name of the show?
Red Dwarf.
Red
Red
Dwarf.
Dwarf?
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a bunch of horse shit too. I think that was started by the same Facebook group.
I think the Seth rumor. I mean, that's a dream. That's something. A lot of people
I think
wanted.
I think they were both made up so we all would jump on it and make us look stupid.
Mhm.
I really do. Because we've heard rumors that CBS would unload Star Trek to the right buyer for the right price, just to help because they got so many fucking. If you watched our video today, you know, if you've seen any of our videos for that matter, they've got so many licensing issues and stuff with Star Trek that would be so much easier just to unload it to somebody, lock, stock, and barrel, pay everybody off, and be done with it.
Right.
That part is true, but I don't see any reason why NBC Universal, aka Comcast, or anybody else for that matter would have any reason or rhyme to pick up Star Trek. It's not the kind of, they have done killed it. And before that, it wasn't even on a level to where anybody would give them the kind of money they would want for it. I'm sure Gary knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And plus, you know, I mean, just common sense. Seth just signed the deal.
Right.
So he's not going to just sign the contract, go, okay, NBC, you come with me. We're going to CBS. We're going to buy Star Trek. I'm sure he'd love to do that, but it's
NBC does not need Star Trek.
No,
they don't.
Universal
But
does
who
not
owns
need
the
Star
right?
Trek.
Who owns the right to the Orville? That's my question. Like
Fox,
does
Disney.
So Fox owns it.
Disney does.
So he doesn't like, because wasn't you know, when it comes to I'm blanking on his cartoon, but he owns the rights to that. He was able to take that Family Guy. Thank you. Holy cow.
And Gary, if you can help me out with this, because I think Bill and I tried to have this conversation before too. We were trying to figure out what he owns, because I think he owns, like you said, Scott.
I think
Family
this was
Guy.
me and you.
Yeah, or actually, it was you and I think I even asked Script Doctor about it too, though. But I'm asking Gary now that he's here because he's a little closer to the inside too. Does Seth own all his characters and shows still, or does he? Because I'm pretty sure he owns like Family Guy and American Dad. Because when they took it off Fox, he took it over to TBS.
Yes, but things got really complicated when Disney purchased it, though.
That's what I was wondering is how Orville worked, if it was the same way, if it was something completely different.
The Orville can survive, and people just need to support it. It needs to be very popular to survive. Like people shouting from the top of the mountaintops, and it will survive.
But as far as this Universal deal or whatever with Seth, it even said in all the trade papers, he has to, if he has any contracts left over with Fox or whatever, he has to honor them. So as long as, you know, Disney and Fox networks want to keep American Dad going, I'm sure he has to keep doing it as long as he's, you know, under contract or whatever. And stuff like that. So that's my guess.
I don't know. Script Doctor, you might know more than me, but I was just listening to Robert Meyer Burnett yesterday, and he was talking about the possible writer's strike that's coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
That could change everything.
It really could. I might be able to take advantage of that a little bit, because I found out this morning that I no longer qualify for my associate union to the WGA, because I didn't get the minimum points requirement from last year's work, even though I worked on a bunch of stuff. But it's only 1/4 point for a Script Doctor job, and you need like 24 and 3 years in order to maintain union membership. So I might be able to squeeze in past some things, because I just also got an email about 10 minutes ago from an email thread talking about what's called, let me just make sure. Prodigal is a new production house. Well, not really new, but they worked on like Jagged Little Pill and a couple of other stuff. And they're advertising out that they're looking for new writers and stuff. And they finished the email saying they're huge into diversity and they love meeting fresh voices. And they also work closely with Diablo Cody. And then all these other writers, especially ones that meet the diversity checkbox, are replying back, F off. We don't care about that. We want quality. Like, we want someone who will represent us, not our skin. So, I mean, that's pretty good.
There you go.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Good.
So yeah, there's definitely going to be. I can't say there's definitely, but I would say that when I was last a part of a union meeting, we were definitely discussing the possibility of a strike, because they are kind of whittling down payments and residuals and things like that. And on top of that, also I want it too, because I then get less. I can only qualify for like Schedule C payments, which is like between $1,000 and $5,000 for like a page of a rewrite or something, and it's a one-time payout. And also I don't get credit for it, so it like staggers my career, but I like make money. And I really want that to change with this new negotiations that they're trying to do with the studios, and also with the American Talent Association, which has been hurting a lot of writers' careers for a very long time, because they have packaging deals that take anywhere from 6 to 20% of the production budget. So a lot of studios that love a great show, they have to decide whether they want to make it or not, because even though they can make the pilot, if it gets picked up, they realize, oh, we got to still pay out the writer's agent for the packaging fee for the prolonged period of the show, and only if it makes money will we start seeing money to invest in it, and then they'll either pull it if they really love the idea, or if they're very much impressed with the idea but don't think that they're going to be able to make enough profit off of it in a short amount of time, they'll just scrap it altogether. And that actually happened to me 2 years ago, and that's when I fired my agent, and then my manager and I parted ways because I didn't realize that they were doing that at that time. My manager wasn't, my agent.
A lot of people fired their agents.
I was one of the first to do it. Last year they did, but nuts.
The fly in the ointment in this is, and this is according to our Robert Meyer Burnett, is Netflix can sign their own separate deal with the Writers Guild that the studios can't. So Netflix can keep going and producing stuff when the studios can't. So they're praying for this. They're like, I will sign whatever deal you want.
They just have to figure out a good residual model, because Netflix kind of hemorrhages money while it still makes money. It's weird how Netflix operates.
It's all based on value. It's a shell game.
It really is.
Amazon's the one that really has the money. Because
they have another avenue of revenue to come in from products.
But this
same with Apple Plus.
This might explain why we're seeing, I mean, we know it's done as a promotional tool, but it might explain why we're seeing series picked up prior so they can get stuff in production. Also why it feels like it's going to be kind of a quiet year. It's going to be real interesting to see, because I worked in Hollywood right after the last big one, and a lot of people were still pissed at the writers, and I'm talking like crew, post-production, those of us who weren't union at all. I'm totally fine with that. I worked at Technicolor. I was never a permanent. None of us were permanent employees. We were all contract employees. Yeah, we just. At one point they didn't tell me they're renewing my contract, so I just like, okay. So I started making plans and getting ready to go, and they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Well, you didn't renew my contract." And oh, we just forgot. Here, and they just renewed my contract. I'm all shit.
Just like that. Just like that. Bang.
Just like that. So, it's going to be interesting to see if this can be a way for maybe CBS to get out of their Kurtzman contract, or you never know.
But you're also saying,
because Kurtzman got his career because of a writer's strike. He scabbed.
Yes, he did.
I don't think it matters. I totally believe the news that he's ready to jump on Clarice and get the fuck away from Star Trek.
Yep. Okay, I gotta run, guys. Sorry to interrupt, but it is time to get to the theater. So, hey, happy birthday!
Take care, Gary.
Thank you,
and Tom. Take care.
Enjoy the show.
Gary, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for stopping by.
No problem. Thank you. Bye, Script Doctor. Bye, Bear. Catch you later.
Take it easy. Enjoy the movie.
I will try. Catch you later. Bye-bye.
Later.
So Kurtzman was the scab. Now, because I found out I'm no longer union, I can technically work. So I'm dusting off and going to do some quick rewrites of some of the shows in preparation of a writer's strike. And if it does strike, I do have the connections to pitch and get stuff produced. And as soon as I get that in there, the one thing I'm going to be doing is siding with the union again, because I agree with their stuff, but I want to get a stronger foothold in and get my U.S. residency and eventually apply for dual citizenship and all that stuff. Because
let me ask you, Script, will writers and other people consider you scabbing?
No, because I've only ever made it as far as an associate WGA member. Okay. Because I'm also a Canadian citizen, they completely understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah,
and because they also side from them on. Yeah, because I've also sided with them on a lot of the same issues, and a lot of them, a lot of other writers that are more ingrained want to do some of the stuff that I do, but they can't because of the diversity thing. But this is a nice little loophole where they won't be able to do it. But if I get lucky enough where I can sell a show, get staffed, and then I'd be considered like a pseudo showrunner as a lucky part, and I can hire unrepped writers, and then once the strike is over, I can then start branching it out, get everybody that's unrepped on the staff part of union, and then start hiring in other unions, and then also I can start pitching more professionally with more clout to studios and then start getting those guys other work under the new terms of the union. So like that would be
damn,
the
man,
dream
you have
goal.
thought this out. You have thought this out, and you know what? The best part about it, I'll finally be able to say I have a source, and that's the most important thing to me. So I hope this all works out for you. So Tom's not the only one with sources. You know, jeez.
I'm not really a source of information, man. Like,
don't you dare take that away from me, Script.
If I become a source of information, I will include you in what I have, so long as it benefits me.
Tom, did you send something? Was there something you wanted me to share before?
Yeah, but it was Gary. It was when we were talking Star Trek stuff. It's not as important now.
Oh, okay.
Star Trek.
You're not.
If you want me to, I can.
Yeah, send it. Send it. I know. I just got that. Wow, Gary was here. See you, Scott.
No, Scotty. I actually have a show that I have to do in a half hour, and I need to get a couple things done before I do it.
Sure. No, whatever.
But
we're going to be shutting down in a little bit. Anyways, yeah, you whatever. Now, Steven, thank you, man. I mean, been doing this for 7 months. You know, we've gotten closer than most men get. What? But no, I appreciate everything, man. You motivated me to actually, watching Gary, watching Midnight's Edge. I was watching those things. You and Drunk wasn't physically saying it to me, but that stream where we started chatting together, that's why I'm on here. So I thank you, my friend. Don't expect me to say stuff like that to you all the time. But if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have had the balls to do it, man. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, brother. You know, I saw you when I saw your first couple of videos, and I just knew there was something you have the ability to do, to perform on this platform. I could see your channel getting big. I could see it beating me, Final too, and Bear. And I think that, I'm glad that I was able to bring you in, because that's what happened to me. That's what people like Lethal Lightning and Mary Mayhem and some others did for me. They brought me in and kind of showed me around, introduced me, and then let me do my thing on my own. And that's what you've been doing. And I like to see all you guys growing. I'm happy that you've joined the YouTube community, and I can't wait to see what you are capable of, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. That's why we rise together, my friend.
We rise together. So, Fandom Menace, I have to go because I have to get ready for a few things, and then I get to go talk about Battlestar Galactica, which really makes me happy, especially after watching Picard, which makes me so angry. Tom, always good talking to you.
Oh, yeah,
Script Bear. Oh, I'm sorry. Script Bear, I will see you later. And
Script Bear, new name. Later, buddy.
On that note, I got a couple things I have to do myself because I got the same.
You're on the same show. Well, you get going.
I'm on the same show, but I'm good for the next 20 minutes. So
yeah,
all right, cool.
I got to watch the last 30 minutes of episode 5.
I could just go.
Even though I watched both like 4 times already.
I could just say I'm going to be on their show, even though I'm not.
No, I've been watching you for a half hour through your window. I know you're not doing anything. All right, so Bear, you got to get going, brother.
I could tweet in someone's ear if you wanted.
Tweet as much as you want. I love you, man. Thank you for stopping in, my friend.
Hey, happy birthday! By the way, guess what? My 21st birthday was on my actual birthday.
Nice.
Oh, a champagne birthday.
21 years
champagne.
from cocaine, my friend.
Yeah, no champagne. But hey, Bear, I'm glad we got the fourth wave going. As we say again, we rise together, man. We're gonna build this thing up. So thank you for supporting me as I support you.
Hey, thank you for having me on, and everyone have a great time. Thank you to the chat, and we'll talk to you later, Tom, and we'll talk to you later, Script. And
take
have
care,
a good one. And if you don't drink no coffee, don't drink no beer or anything, have a coffee, have a tea.
There you go,
Be
buddy.
safe out there.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Peace out. All right, now all the losers are gone. Let's do this. All right, so this is what you wanted to share. Let's see what this is.
It's just it's Tarantino talking about JJ.
What do I do?
That's a hysterical interview.
I still don't quite understand, and JJ can't explain it to me. Whatever, and my editor has tried to explain it to me, and I still don't get it. All right, Fred asking about something happened in the first movie that now kind of wiped the slate clean.
Right.
I don't buy that. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I don't. Fuck that. All right. I don't like that.
I'm going to lead you down a road. You want the Guardian of Forever to have happened, don't you?
Yeah, I want the whole series to have happened. All right. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
and no, Benedict Cumberbatch or whatever his name is. All right, it's not Khan.
Yeah.
All right, Khan is Khan. And I told JJ, go like, I don't understand this. I don't like it. And then he's like, ignore it. Nobody likes it. I don't understand it. Just do whatever you want. If you want it to happen the exact way it happened on the series, it can.
So that's more in line with what you're honoring the series that you loved and came up with.
Yes, exactly.
So is he actually doing it?
No, he this was a while ago, but
Oh
yeah,
my
this
God.
just it's funny because you get to hear basically JJ saying that he don't even understand his own Star Trek.
Yeah,
that's right, Sadie. I gotta let the dog out. I'll be right back.
All right, man. Now,
Yeah,
when script, do you know when that was from?
That I think that was very late last year, like late fall. I think is when it came. It may have been earlier, but that's when I remember hearing it. But I mean, the rumor around town before I left to come back to Canada was that there's never going to be another Star Trek movie. Paramount wasn't going to allow it to happen under JJ. They were not satisfied with the overall reception of the last 3 Star Trek films. I mean, they were happy with the 2009 version.
Right.
They weren't too thrilled with the Into Darkness, especially the cast. If you take a look back at Chris Pine's interviews, he had no idea why it was called Star Trek Into Darkness. He was trying to talk about the darkness of that movie. I'm like, the movie's not really that dark. I mean, it's not hopeful either, but it's like, what do you like? He had no idea why it was titled that. I don't even think they had a title when they were shooting the movie, and then it just came up at the very last.
Just one of those things where JJ was like, "We're just going to call it Into Darkness." Yeah, let's go with that. Now,
exactly.
did he do the first 2 movies or did he do 3?
He did the first 2,
right? And then who did the third?
I keep confusing this director. It's either James Wan or another guy. And
James Wan, I think, directed the third one. If that's
yes, okay. So if it's James Wan did
the guy
third
who did
one.
like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
That's the guy you want.
I confuse him with Justin Lin sometimes, which I shouldn't do. But it's not to do with the solely the fact that they're both Asian. It's just the fact that they were kind of on the rise at the same time. And James Wan did the Saw films, which I know about because whenever I'd be come back to Canada in the fall, they would be shooting like 20 minutes from my house because all the Saw films were shot in like the Greater Toronto area, and they were shot and edited within like 4 months, and then always released for the following Halloween. Like they just sit on them for a while. And
well, let me ask you this, because both of you now that you're saying was last year sometime or early this past last year. What I don't understand is for the longest time, you and even up until really Skywalker, you hear that JJ was the golden boy and that if he takes a hit on this, it won't be that big of a deal. Everyone loved him at Star Trek, but where we're finding out is people realized how much of a bullshit director writer he really was, and he never finished anything he started.
Well, Hollywood's really slow to realize that type of thing because they're all infatuated with their own egos. Myself included. Like, I think I'm awesome.
You're not. No,
I'm not. Kidding. I really am not. But like that's the other part too. Is also the whole town is BS. I mean, there may be tons of crap on the ground of San Francisco, but it's been around LA and Hollywood for decades, and that's just the way it runs. Like I was saying last week, 99% of the stuff I hear when I'd be visiting for work and stuff like that was all rumor, and it all just pattered out to be nothingness, because as long as you're talking about doing a job, you're technically doing a job, and all you got to do is just find someone dumb enough to invest in it. That's also why I don't want to be a news source and report on that stuff, because for me to verify it, I mean, that just distracts me from doing my own work. But if I do hear something, it's usually like, and I know what's going on, is because I have a friend who's working on it and they've actually cashed a check.
Right.
A lot of money does happen up front nowadays, because studios over the last 15, 20 years or so have found new ways to say that they didn't make anything past the gross they didn't make any net, because they have all these new expenses now with the internet and streaming and stuff like that. So you don't get any back end points, or at least as much back end points, unless you have a very good team of lawyers that are meticulous with numbers to prove to the studio that yes, you started making money at this point, so give me my percentage now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy. Because they need money to invest and offset losses. It's a terrible reason, but it is a reason. And it's, again, as Tom was bringing up with Robert Meyer Burnett, his show yesterday, I guess, it's why the WGA will most likely strike. And I hope it's a short strike, just because there are people who rely on writers to turn in work and go on set and do their job and crew.
It affects everything.
It really does. And it's kind of ironic because Hollywood, how do I want to put this here?
Treats writers like shit.
They do and they don't. They praise us all the time. Like anytime I go into a room, especially like a production meeting for like the possibility of doing something, they are kissing my ass. Right. And it's pleasurable. I'd never sit down because it just makes it easier for them. That
was good.
And it's fun because they work there. I've shot myself in the foot many times because sometimes a producer will volunteer an idea and it will be objectively bad, and you'll see the other people in the room grimace, and I will just casually say, "Well, stick to producing. You're good. You're better at that." And
nice.
And it usually ruins the deal. It's one of the reasons why my manager was happy when I said maybe we should not work together anymore, because I wanted to hold on to something honest about myself. I didn't want to be a yes man thing, and I'd rather be stuck in a position where I'm not making movies like stuff for 20, 30, 40 years than say yes, compromise my ability to tell a great story as well. And that's also what's going to happen here with these writers being coerced to write all this stuff before a strike possibly happens, and then so that they can still go into production. You're then going to realize that
you're screwing yourself.
You're screwing yourself because you're not only are you not getting paid, but your reputation is going to be hurt because that's your name. That's still going to be your name on the script, which still might need work during production, and it's probably not going to be the best product when it's completed.
Right.
And it's probably will hurt the fan base that your show is going to generate. It's probably going to prevent it from being renewed if it's going to be a seasonal thing as opposed to like a miniseries or a special. And you also might risk like just hurting your career in the long run because a lot of writers, even some pretty high profile ones, we still submit to screenwriting contests and get part-time jobs in between gigs because not all the time, especially with some of them having families with high expenses, are they getting a steady income to support themselves. Right. It's really weird, especially when you hear a rumor that Aaron Sorkin under a pen name submits to the Austin Film Festival for screenwriting. I don't think that's actually true, but that's just a hyperbolic rumor I hear because there are some notable screenwriters that still submit to those festivals and do the meet and greets and pitch to try and get their stuff shown. And I think that has more to do with the story analyst problem in Hollywood than actually anything else. But because sometimes a name can get you into a room, but it won't get you a
right. It won't get you the green light. I mean,
yeah.
It's you. I know it's kind of a stupid analogy, but you watch like a show like Entourage or any of these like behind the scene type of things, and you hear from different people, sources, that it might be a little inflated, but that's how it is. Things that you think are going to be your next big break just get destroyed because of some funding or somebody gets a hair across their ass or a change in leadership or anything like that,
Oh yeah, like I lost an internship at Paramount because they split. Like I was there. It was a 6-month unpaid internship. On my first day, they told me if you make it 6 weeks, you're going to be hired, like for something. And they're like, I don't know what job it's going to be, but they'll say they'll find a job for me and start paying me, which was like awesome and exciting. Right. And then week 4 happens in 2005. And my boss tells me, yeah, so we're splitting up. And I'm like, oh, your wife and them? Like, no, the company, it's splitting up. It's like internship program's gone. So like we can't help you anymore. Like you got a reference, whatever. And he's like, and so sorry. And so I'd already like borrowed on some credit card and a loan to afford to be out in LA living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 other guys.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's like, what the heck am I supposed to do? So I hustled as much as I could down there until I had to go back. And when I went back, my my alma mater hired me as a script doctor to fix a project that they were doing, and that's kind of where I got my identity there and started getting my credits. But like, I was seeing all sorts of cool stuff at Paramount. Like, they were talking about doing a Phantom as a television series. At that time, that was years before they actually pulled it off, and they didn't pull it off actually.
Wait
they
a
were
minute,
talking,
Phantom as in the superhero?
yeah, the Billy Zane thing. They're going to do it as a television series.
They were going to no shit.
They actually did a pilot with Isabella Rossellini years later, which was terrible.
Right.
They didn't commit to the mythos of the Phantom. When I was there, they were talking about like their deal with Marvel, and they were speculating on what movies they were going to do. And there was rumors of Tom Cruise doing Iron Man because he was interested. But then
I heard that. Yeah.
that was kind of like, it was all crazy stuff that I was hearing months before I heard it again once I went back home. So it was really, really awesome. But yeah, that's just the nature of the business. Like, stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
Everything falls through. Everyone is desperate. There's a lot of seedy behavior from one area of Hollywood, and then the rest of it is like Joes like me that are just like, we just want to tell fun stories and, you know, make a name for ourselves and be a little bit immortalized in the pantheon of film.
Just sell your soul.
Yeah, sell the soul, but like not compromising the values, sort of thing.
Right. I hear you on that. Now, Tom, did you ever work in that field at all?
Not professionally, just independently.
Independently?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same, sadly.
Yeah. It's just because
I mean, I've talked to a few people in the studio system, but I didn't, you know, I had a hard time trying to find an agent, especially as a writer. Where I'm at,
really hard. You basically have to like win 6 or 7 contests in a row in order to get an agent.
Yeah, and like everybody would keep giving me something else as far as an agent, and they'd be like, "Here, talk to this agent. Maybe they know somebody." And they'd be like, "I don't know any writing agents." When I finally, you know,
right?
Like, yeah.
You get an actor that likes you, you'll get an agent really fast.
And that's what, you know, it just sometimes takes that opportunity, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, actors love, if you can find like a their agent or their email, or meet them in person and be like, hey, I have this idea for a script that you would be great for, and it's something that gives them, really strokes their ego, lets them stretch their acting muscles, they will listen to you.
Yeah.
And I managed to do that a couple of times and get my foot in the door, and then get kicked out when deals go through, which is just the name of the game. Like, I'm currently going after like Steve Martin and Martin Short, be like, I want to do a special thing with you guys because I know your humor very well and how to channel it.
Oh, I hope that works out, dude. I love them.
No, they ignore the hell out of me.
Ah.
Actually, Martin Short won't, because we're both Canadian and from the same region, so he's loyal in that way to that type of stuff. But
yeah,
that's my long shot there.
I miss that type of comedy, so keep the work up, man. But I think we're gonna come to a close. I know you have another show, and Tom, you're a busy man, and I have to get up early for work, so I'm going to finish off first by saying
happy birthday.
Thank you again, my friend.
Yes,
and
happy birthday.
Script Doctor, because of people like Tom, I got to meet you, and I hope we connect more often. We do more lives together. I really enjoy your take on things, man. So I appreciate you.
I enjoy your guys' take too. It's so refreshing than the crap that I spew out, because I'm just spewing out the stuff I hear.
See, but I find that very interesting. So we can work that together. But I'll definitely have you back on when I do another live. Hopefully, Tom, down the road, you'll jump back on when you have time. You're a busy man, I know that. But
I don't know. I feel like me being on like a podcast is like the audible equivalent of somebody picking their nose. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I kind of realized, I don't know why I called it a podcast. I think I had a vision of something and it's kind of turned into something else. So maybe someday I'll get it to a podcast format. But
well, no, I'm just saying I'm not interesting to listen to. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, but look at your eyes. I just stare at your picture the whole time. No, I enjoy listening to you, Tommy. I learn something every time we talk together. Every time, man. I enjoy it, and all the support you have given me, just inviting me on Midnight's Edge After Dark and introducing me to Rob and Mecca. I just really, really appreciate the support that you have given me, and I just want to thank you for that, man.
Likewise as well. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, you really do help out all the the people out there. So thank you guys for coming. Twisted Mind Collision, great show, Spork. Thank you, man. Merry happy return, man. On to WCB, World Class Bills. Wow, you held off. So thank you. To everybody that showed up tonight, or if you're watching this later, I appreciate it. You can find Tom at Midnight's Edge After Dark and Midnight's Edge on Marioki Shenanigans. Am I missing anything?
No, you got it pretty well covered.
All right. And then we have Script Doctor. He has his channel. If you have not subscribed to him, what are you doing? Seriously, you're going to learn something. It's one of my favorite channels. I watch it every time he pops up. So please make sure you watch his stuff when he gets it out there. And,
I'm infrequent because I have a day job and I do actual screenwriting. So I apologize for not being consistent, but that's the
you don't owe them anything. You know,
but I just noticed we kind of have like a Kirk, Spock, and McCoy thing going here with Tom as Kirk or maybe Tom Spock. It's hard to tell which one. Like you Spork, so Spork and Spock is close together. But
yeah,
there's definitely that type of trifecta going on here.
I do feel a little more emotional than Spock would, but
you're like Cybok.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that one out, man. We'll have to figure that one. But thank you everybody for showing up. Please subscribe to everybody that was here tonight. Let me thank Bear Nerd Fun, an author. I don't know if you knew this, but Stephen Walton. We had Mary Mayhem. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Script Doctor. Thank you, Immortal Coil. And I think the only other person was this little channel. And if you haven't jumped on him yet, please check him out. His name is Larry or Gary from Nerderotic. Please check that guy out too.
I heard he owned a comic store at one time.
I heard that too. I think I don't know if I trust him on that one, but everybody have a great night. And remember, if they start calling you names, they've already lost the war. Have a great night, everybody. And I am not